Ayn Rand's Anthem presents a dystopian vision of a collectivist world in which individuality has been erased, and even the word, I has been forgotten. At the center of this totalitarian landscape stands Equality 7 to 2521, a man who refuses to be identical to others, whose hunger for knowledge and truth leads him to rediscover the meaning of the self. Through his journey from obedient citizen to defiant individual, Rand constructs Equality 7 to 2521 as both a narrative focal point and a philosophical symbol. His character embodies the struggle of human reason against oppression, the rediscovery of the ego, and the triumph of individualism over collectivist conformity. Role in the narrative. Equality 7 to 2521 is the narrator and protagonist of Anthem, and the entire novella unfolds through his journal entries written in first-person plural. His use of we rather than I in the opening chapters immediately establishes the dystopian condition of his world, a society in which personal identity has been obliterated. The story is thus both an external rebellion against a totalitarian state and an internal awakening of the self. Equality's journey mirrors a gradual enlightenment, beginning with curiosity, progressing through secret exploration, and culminating in self-realization. At the start of the narrative, Equality 7 to 2521 is guilty of the sin of being different. He is taller, more intelligent, and more inquisitive than his peers, which makes him an anomaly in a society that worships sameness. Despite his talents, the Council of Vocations assigns him to the life of a street sweeper, a deliberate attempt to suppress his potential. Yet this external control cannot extinguish his inner fire. His curiosity leads him to discover a tunnel from the unmentionable times, a relic of the pre-collectivist era. There, he conducts secret experiments and ultimately rediscovers electricity, an invention long lost to humanity. This act of rediscovery becomes a symbol of intellectual freedom and the rebirth of progress. When Equality finally reveals his discovery to the World Council of Scholars, hoping to serve humankind, he is met not with gratitude but with terror and hostility. The scholars reject his invention because it threatens their control and contradicts the principle of equality. Their reaction crystallizes the central conflict: the individual mind versus the collective authority. Equality's subsequent flight into the uncharted forest is both literal and symbolic, his break from the physical and psychological constraints of collectivism. By the end of the novella, he renames himself Prometheus, aligning his identity with the Greek myth of the Titan who brought fire, knowledge, to mankind. His transformation completes the arc from submission to self-assertion, from anonymity to identity. Symbolic significance. Equality 7 to 2521 functions not merely as a character, but as an allegorical figure, representing Rand's ideal of rational individualism. His evolution from a nameless number into the self-chosen name Prometheus parallels the reawakening of human dignity and reason. Each stage of his journey reflects a symbolic rebirth of values suppressed by collectivism. The rediscovery of the tunnel symbolizes the unearthing of forgotten human potential. In delving beneath the surface of his society, both literally and figuratively, Equality reconnects with the intellectual and creative energies that the collectivist order has buried. The invention of the light bulb symbolizes the illumination of the human mind. The light he creates in the darkness stands as a metaphor for knowledge, truth, and the creative power of the individual spirit. The flight into the forest represents freedom through exile. The forest, forbidden and feared by society, becomes a sanctuary for self-discovery. In rejecting society's rules, Equality becomes truly human for the first time. The renaming to Prometheus signifies his acceptance of personal responsibility and moral autonomy. Like Prometheus stealing fire from the gods, Equality defies the ruling gods of collectivism to restore enlightenment to humanity. Broader implications. The philosophical foundation of Anthem lies in objectivism, Rand's belief in rational self-interest, and the moral right of individuals to live for their own sake. Equality 7-2521's journey dramatizes this philosophy in action. He begins as a man who feels guilt for his uniqueness, but ends as a man who glorifies it. His moral transformation illustrates Rand's central ethical claim, that it is not selfishness but selflessness, the denial of self, that constitutes evil. In the collectivist world of Anthem, all decisions, from one's occupation to one's emotions, are dictated by the councils. Individual choice and creativity are forbidden, for the society's moral code is built on the worship of we. Equality 7-2521's defiance exposes the inherent contradiction in such a system. It requires the mind to function while simultaneously forbidding independent thought. By rediscovering electricity and naming it his light, equality restores the principle of ownership to human achievement. His declaration near the end of the novella, "I am, I think, I will," is both a personal epiphany and a philosophical manifesto. It reclaims the sacred pronoun, I, lost for generations, and affirms that existence and identity are inseparable from individual consciousness. Equality's relationship with Liberty 5-3000, whom he names Gia, further reinforces this philosophy. Their love defies the state's command that no one should prefer one person over another. In Rand's moral vision, love is not a duty or collective obligation, but a deeply personal value, chosen freely by one individual in recognition of another's worth. Through their union, Rand envisions a new beginning, a world rebuilt on individual choice and the creative mind, not enforced equality. Beyond its immediate dystopian setting, Equality 7-2521's story carries universal significance. His struggle mirrors humanity's broader historical journey from ignorance to enlightenment, from tribal collectivism to individual freedom. The rediscovery of light recalls the Promethean myth, the Renaissance, and the Enlightenment, all epochs in which human reason rebelled against dogma. Rand's hero thus serves as an archetype of every thinker and creator who challenges oppressive systems, from Galileo to Edison. However, Equality 7-2521 is not merely a historical or philosophical figure. He is also an ethical model. His story warns that civilization cannot survive when individuality is suppressed. Conclusion. Equality 7-2521's journey in Anthem is both a personal odyssey and a philosophical allegory. As a character, he grows from a dutiful member of a faceless society into a self-aware individual who claims his name, his mind, and his destiny. Symbolically, he embodies the rebirth of the human spirit through the rediscovery of the word, I. His defiance of the World Council of Scholars and his embrace of freedom in the wilderness dramatize Ayn Rand's central theme, that the individual is the ultimate moral unit of existence, and that the pursuit of one's own truth and happiness is the highest virtue. In naming himself Prometheus, Equality 7-2521 becomes not only a man, but a symbol for all creators and thinkers who bring light to a darkened world. His story, ultimately, celebrates the invincible power of the individual mind, the only trustworthy source of progress, dignity, and freedom.